Welcome to the Give for Grouse podcast, dedicated to giving the ruffed grouse a voice by promoting sound wildlife management, advocating for forest health, and championing all things conservation. Now let's get to the show with Cody Altizer and Eric Long.
Welcome back to the Give for Grouse podcast, brought to you by the Give for Grouse initiative, hosted by Cody and Eric Long, two dudes who, coincidentally, like to give for grouse.
You practiced that.
I didn't practice it, but I had it in my head.
Yeah.
I had that one saved.
Yeah. There's something else that starts with the. Come on. You can finish it. The. Come on. The.
I tell you what, I've told you this, I think. I'm not an Ohio State fan. I like to see him do well. Best I can stand it for you, but my nephew, Kit, he picks some winners. His aunt on his mom's side is big Ohio. His aunt and uncle, big Ohio State fans. So he's a big Ohio State fan. Yeah, he also likes the Dodgers, the Cowboys, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. He big Gators fan, more so because of the recent national championship in basketball. Less about the football. Like I said, he picks some winners. But
there you go. Okay.
Appreciate everybody tuning in, joining us, listening. Thankful for you and your time on this hot and humid August afternoon. How's your world?
You know what? Cody. Going 100 miles an hour and just a lot. There's a lot going on. There's just so much work, life. My son came back from out west, Colorado, fighting fire at the Aspen Acre Fire, and came back safely. And he had so many stories. That was awesome to hear all that and live through him. And God, I was 20 again in my mind, listening to those stories, doing the same thing that he just came back doing. So no, life's good. Can't complain. Could. No one will listen, but it's
Wouldn't
humid
do
too.
Any good if you did, would it?
Right? No, it's weather-wise, it's been, you can't complain. We've been getting the rain when we need it. It's not a drought by any stretch of the means, but and that bad three-letter word EHD has not popped its head up yet. And last 2 years in a row, it's been very devastating on some dear clients' properties and stuff. And right now, knock on wood, it's been good. We've been getting the right weather to, there's a lot to EHD, and that's not what we do here. But it's been interesting. So far, so good. I haven't had anybody call and, had to talk them off a bridge, about selling their place or whatever because EHD. But no. So homework time. Let's talk about some merch. If you're watching this, Cody has some of the merch on.
I do not. This is the same color, not the same shirt.
Oh,
shirt.
I thought, okay, I didn't. Well, let's start all over. It's homework time.
We have some merchandise. Indeed. We have Grouse and a Chainsaw, Brooding Habitat, Chicks Dig It shirt. We have we've mentioned it, Ruffed Grouse holding the drip torch, flaming drip torch in the works. That design has been approved and sent to the printer. We will have those stickers and shirts the week this podcast airs. So
love it.
Those will be available. Don't have them to show you today, but they will be very soon. Shirts, hoodies, stickers. DM us if you would like any of those things. We will get all those details sorted. We've developed so many. I don't want to spend too much time rambling about them. If you want a shirt or a sticker or a hoodie, let us know. We will get you sorted. We will bother you for the stickers. We give those away, the first one for free. If you leave us a 5-star rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we will send you a sticker of your choosing. Ruffed Grouse and a Chainsaw, Bob White Quail and a Drip Torch, and as of the time this podcast is released, Grouse and a Drip Torch. So, merchandise, shirts, hoodies, stickers. If you're interested in any of that, give us a shout. get you sorted.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I want to echo that. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for supporting us. Usually kind of save this for the end, but social media, things have been, moving in the right direction. We got a lot of momentum, and it takes you guys to share the stuff that Cody and I post, and whether it's videos or, whatever, it's, the routine. It does. You can't do any of this stuff. Cody and I could have all these dreams and aspirations and make Gift for Grouse initiative a thing. And, but if you don't click like or listen to us ramble, it don't happen. It doesn't happen, or it doesn't go far at all. So, but we have, switching over, we have a really cool guest today, and I'll let Cody talk a little bit about our guest, but I'm looking forward to this conversation. I've always seen him like our stuff, and I've clicked his profile, and it's like he's got some cool things going on himself.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can't talk too much about him. I don't know him all that well.
No,
which I think is a good thing. It's Riley Wimer is his name, fellow Virginian. I believe we will get into the nitty gritty. His email was a Virginia Tech email, so haven't even brought him on the podcast yet, and he's 0-1 in the count. But I've followed him. He's followed us. We've chatted back and forth, I guess, on Instagram and in text message setting this up. But I enjoy these podcasts and conversations with people that you and I don't know, because you get to know the person like in real time after we've hit record. A lot of the people that we have on, somebody I know, somebody that you know, somebody we both know, we have a prior relationship and history and understanding and dynamic with that person. We've had some other people on where we don't know them very well at all before hitting record. And I enjoy those conversations because you get to know somebody, you hear their stories for the first time, you see their their facial expressions for the first time. Everything's for the first time, and it's all new. And I'm not friends with Riley Wimer right now, but at the end of the podcast, I imagine we will be. You know what I mean? So like you become friends through this conversation and through the podcast, which I think is a really cool thing. To develop these friendships over conversations about grouse, which I expect is what will happen with Riley.
Yeah. Well, let's get him on. This is going to be good. Let's just skip the small talk. Let's just jump right on into it. How about that?
Mr. Riley Wimer, how are you doing this hot, humid August afternoon?
I'm doing wonderful, fellas. How about yourselves?
Right as rain, which we may be getting some here coincidentally pretty soon. That sounds like there's some thunderstorms on all three of our radars potentially.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's getting pretty dark outside.
Yeah, and you're in Southwest Virginia, right?
Yep.
And you sent me your email for this Zoom, which is strike one from my family, being a Hokie.
Oh.
We're a family of Who's.
Oh, no.
Is that Division 2? Is that Division 2? I don't. Is that in the BCS?
Excuse the northerner up from in the.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm looking down from that mountain. I can't see you down there.
So you went to Tech?
Unfortunately, my mother went to UVA. And my dad, went to UVA, but didn't actually go to UVA. So he would visit her on the weekends, and, they raised two boys and a daughter. Both my brother and I went to Virginia Tech. I don't think any of us would have gotten into UVA, first of all. So
makes sense. What did you what'd you go to Tech for? What'd you study?
Environmental horticulture.
Oh, right on.
Nice. Hell yeah. All right. That's something else we can add to the list of things to talk about.
No kidding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, excited to have you on, man. Appreciate you taking the time, and for those watching, appreciate you representing what little merch we do have merchandise. We appreciate you representing the merchandise we do have. I tell you, Riley, these conversations, these podcasts, I was telling Eric, you and I have chatted a bit. I followed you, you followed us, but candidly, don't really know each other from Adam, having really talked to each other, which I think makes for good podcast conversations and episodes because you get to know the person, throughout the conversation. A lot of the people we've had on, and it's just the nature of the business, like you know them really well. Right. So it's, there's that dynamic. This dynamic, I really enjoy getting to know somebody like for the very first time as we're recording the episode. And you said it, I think before we pressed record, you said you can talk about ruffed grouse till you were blue in the face or all day long or whatever you said. And we said, well, you came to the right place. So excited to get it started.
Yeah. Well, good deal. So where do we begin, Cody?
Yeah, Riley, tell us, where you're from, who you are, what you do, and how all that kind of segues into your ruffed grouse journey as far as hunting, if that's how you got started, or if you're like me and just love the bird and hunt them second. Give us your ruffed grouse journey story.
Well, I'm Riley Wimer. Grew up just south of Richmond in Chesterfield County. Had a very different upbringing, childhood, teenage years than the life that I'm living now. Grew up in your kind of picture perfect suburban lifestyle, just outside of Richmond, playing every sport that I could imagine. Did not hunt at all, didn't own a gun. I don't think anyone in my household, I don't even think we had a gun in our household growing up. I don't think anyone there, no one in my direct family hunted. I grew up big into bass fishing. So I was a avid bass fisherman, fished Federation tournaments for a long time. My dad owned a landscaping company, so I've always had that attachment to the outdoors. And I worked for him throughout my teenage years, and that kind of led me to pursue a degree in environmental horticulture. So I applied to Virginia Tech, got in, made it out to the mountains, and just fell in love. And I knew right then and there that I was going to be one of those Appalachian transplants. And the rest of my life was going to be spent in the mountains. So,
Awesome.
Throughout college, I was what you would consider a tree hugger. I had hair down to my belly button at one point, just looking like the picture perfect Jesus. Someone that, if you told me that there was going to be a logging operation or something in my early 20s, I was that kind of guy that was like, all right, guys, let's team up. Let's strap ourselves to these trees so they don't log this area.
No way. This is awesome.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, fast forward a little over a decade and to see where I'm at now, all because of this little bird that I experienced through hiking encounters and mountain biking and just being out in the woods. I would have bet billions of dollars in my early 20s that I would not be where I'm at right now.
Very cool.
You
So
are
I got to
diamond
ask,
in the rough, man.
I got to ask you, so was the ruffed grouse the catalyst for your transformation being, I'm just going to, lob this phrase over top of you, anti-forest management, and ruffed grouse was like the catalyst for you to become more proactive forest management?
Oh, absolutely.
That's cool. And
Yes.
just experiences with the bird, hiking and mountain biking and just seeing them. And you came to understand that to see more of these guys, we got to disturb these forests. That's amazing.
Well, here's the situation that Riley doesn't know that he just got himself into. Guess who the new spokesman to represent and tell that story for Give for Grouse, man. Oh, that is awesome.
That's crazy.
I mean, there's that difference between conservation and preservation. And, being a college educated individual especially with a degree in environmental horticulture, I was all about preservation at that point in my life. And that's kind of what we were taught. That was the curriculum. That's a big difference between like a forestry major and an environmental horticulture major. And so I was educated, but I lacked the knowledge to understand what like a working ecosystem in a forest would look like. I was thinking that like preserving these old wood forests was like the best thing in the world for every form of wildlife. Until I discovered the ruffed grouse, and my life took a 180 turn. And, you know, I went crazy and started researching and changed my entire outlook on forests and management of forests and ecosystems. And it's just led me to where I'm at right now, which, like I said before, if you'd have gone back in time a little over a decade ago, I would never have believed you.
That's amazing.
Like,
That's
where
not
I'm at
that
right now.
long ago either. Just 10 years. That big of a transformation in 10 years.
So let me ask you this question, not to focus solely on this, but did you know what a ruffed grouse was before you went to tech? Like when you went, I mean, did you know what that even was? And that's where you like, what is that? And then started doing some research on it. I mean, how did that happen, if you will?
Oh, I had no idea what a grouse was at that point in time.
I'm
No
sorry.
idea at all. I had no idea what a ruffed grouse was at that time. I had no idea what a bird dog was. You know, my brief experience with a shotgun was an old Belgian-made A5 that we used to throw rocks up in the air in my family's farm in Georgia and shoot at. So I'll tell you a quick little story about my first encounter with a ruffed grouse. I was living on a farm in Blacksburg, gorgeous farm, a little over 300 acres. And this was in that extreme hippie phase of my life. You know, like I said before, long hair, just tie-dye shirts, you know, all the above.
That's awesome.
And big into hiking, being a horticulturist, I was always looking for new wildflowers, plant identification. I carried all my books around with me, and I had a dog that my college girlfriend and I got together, which was a blue Weimaraner. Had no idea what a bird dog was, didn't know that they were bred to hunt. We just went on a lot of hiking trips, and I would backpack a lot and look for wildflowers and whatnot. So we went down on the farm. There was the old, if you're familiar with the Blacksburg area, Price's Fork is a big road that runs through Blacksburg.
Yeah.
And the old Price family homestead was on that farm, and cemetery and everything. And I got this idea that I'm going to go down there and try and check it out. I had a metal detector and just to see what I could find. So Blue and I went down there.
Get some gold teeth.
And we're walking down this road that was kind of maintained. They mowed it because the Price family cemetery was there. And it's overgrown old farmland. And all of a sudden, Blue just kind of stops. And, you know, at this point in time, I don't know what a point is. And he had never been trained at all. He was just my hiking buddy. And he just stops, and these two birds fly from left to right. And they made this noise that I will never forget, that any grouse hunter, that oh my gosh, get your heart going. And I watch him fly, and he's just locked up there, just looking at him, and then he takes off running after him. And I was like, well, that was interesting. And so we explored the homestead, and it was very dilapidated at that point. There's nothing but a couple timbers on the ground, old cemetery. And I remember getting home that evening and looking up online Virginia native chickens.
Yeah.
And that just led me. led me down this road on Google and Reddit, and it was like, oh, those were ruffed grouse. And then I had looked at, started reading stories about the heyday of ruffed grouse in Virginia and how they were not as abundant as they used to be. And I thought that I just hit a gold mine, that I had seen these birds.
Mm. That's so cool.
And then that led me to research Weimeriders and what they were bred to do. And so I started training Blue to bird hunt. And I ordered grouse scent online.
Nice.
And put it in socks and started hiding it around the house and getting him to track it. And I didn't know anything about bird dog training at that time.
Oh.
And he started finding them like instantly. And then I progressed to putting out stuff in the yard and he would find it. And then I went online on Craigslist at the time. I don't even think Facebook Marketplace was a thing. Bought some Coturnix quail. And we all know Coturnix quail don't fly very well.
No.
So I started training him, and he would point them, and I'd walk out in front of him and have to throw the bird in the air.
Yeah. They're fat. It's just fat little chubby quail, man.
And so that was kind of my first experience with like the ruffed grouse, the bird dog, and understanding the habitats that you need to look for ruffed grouse.
That's incredible. I don't know. I always talk at the end, we asked a question, which I'm sure you're familiar with, your most memorable experience. And Eric and I talk, I think on the podcast, or maybe just he and I together, that it's my favorite part of the whole, of our whole podcast is getting to hear these stories. And I don't know if that's your most memorable or if you've got another one that's more meaningful than that, but I'm excited to hear more grouse stories. But it's I don't know. It's so cool to see. And I mentioned this to somebody recently, Eric or somebody else, all the people that Eric and I have met since we started Give for Grouse, all thanks to this little itty bitty bird. It's life-changing. It's life-changing for me and my story and how I got into grouse. You can make the argument it's kind of how Eric and I met almost. It's certainly how he and I got to where we are now. And for you, it's this life-changing catalyst for this life-changing transformation that took you from who you were prior to your first experience with this bird and led you to who you are and what you do and what you represent now. Not to diminish who you were before. It's amazing what this species has the capability to do. Eric made a post recently with a drawing that he did, which I hope everybody, I need to make aware. Eric draws those. If I were to draw anything that resembled a bird, it would not, I can take no credit for the drawings. That is all Eric, but it's, the romance of this bird, whether it's its management, the hunting, just this allure of the romance of this species. It's incredible. And your story is just, I got no words, man, to hear the story and how you told it. The smile on your face as you were sharing it was, I don't know. It's my favorite story we've heard so far. I'm sorry, everybody else we've had on. I don't mean to shortchange your incredible stories, but that one took the cake for me.
Yeah,
man.
They're all so different in so many ways. We haven't had not one. I forget. I don't know what episode this is, but we haven't had one that's like, I don't think even similar. You think it'd be okay by now. We're going to get crossing, and it's just not. And I'm looking at Cody when you were telling the story, and we both are like, I got this big warm feeling in my heart, like smiling, like this is awesome, man. This is what it's all about, and how diving down and researching and doing your own homework, which you did. You did your own homework. No one said, hey, Riley, blah, 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 and there was this big debate to try to convince you of X, Y, and Z. You did it all on your own, this air quote transformation, if you will. And man, it's awesome because it's organic. It's awesome. Now, if everybody goes to your social media, your Instagram, you went from Jesus to shooting quail, out west and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
it's just like you're in your photography and everything. Look what it created. And that's the thing. It's like once you start doing all this stuff, when you take the blinders off, not to get on a rant, but when you take the blinders off of like this one species, and most people, it's all deer, right? And you take the blinders off and you discover this bird, it just leads to this and it leads to that. I went quail hunting for the first time a couple of years ago in Kansas, and it was like, oh my God. But the grouse was the catalyst to get to that. And then I went sharptail hunting last year in South Dakota. But if it wasn't for the ruffed grouse, I wouldn't have done that, And it's just like this. It's rediscovering so much. It's incredible. I love the story. I love the story. That's awesome.
So
Good
what?
stuff.
You flushed these two birds, and then that sent you down this rabbit hole, and you inadvertently had a bird dog to begin with, which feels like even more destiny. Yeah. So how long was it? After that switch flipped, and and you got bit by the grouse bug. How many seasons did it take you to get your first bird? Like, talk about your hunting journey. You got bit by the grouse bug, and then you went down that road, as many of us have. Talk about how that led into your grouse hunting journey.
Oh gosh. So that year, I don't even remember when that was. 2018, maybe 19. Trained Blue, had a buddy of mine that grew up grouse hunting with his father, and I worked with him at the time. He came out to the farm, helped me work Blue, showed me some things outside of, throwing Caternix quail in the air to develop a bird dog.
I've been there. It's like, do something, man. You want them to do something, and they just look at you like, I'm too fat. I can't move.
Yeah. So he helped me out quite a bit, and we trained Blue to the point where he was consistently pointing birds, and we finally got pigeons and bobwhite quail. And then we were like, all right, it's time to go ruffed grouse hunt. And I still, at this point in my life, didn't own a shotgun. So I acquired one, a cheap little 870 pump, and we looked up, I think it's the Young Forest Finder app for Virginia, and found a spot. I'm not going to name any counties, but we found a spot that had some young cuts that were, perfect age range. They'd been burned. And we took Blue out there, and gosh, I think we moved 6 grouse that day. And he missed one. I missed a double. Just clear as day. Came up, Blue pointed them. They flew. I missed both of them. I hadn't practiced shotgun shooting. I was new to everything, but I didn't quite get bit by the bug yet at that point. I was still more into hiking. Like, I guess I realized that, like, I loved hiking. I loved being outdoors, backpacking. And the fact that I could find a hobby that involved all of the things that I had already enjoyed doing, and then you incorporate a dog that had been trained to do it, and a shotgun. And so we went through that whole season. We moved a handful of grouse, probably maybe a few dozen, which is, to me, that was great in Virginia for not knowing what you're looking for and knowing what you're doing. A dog that's very new to it. Unfortunately, prior to January that year, Blue had developed these lumps. And my boss at the time was a veterinarian. And so she came out and looked at him and aspirated these lumps, sent them off to Virginia Tech. And it turned out to be cancer. And so, like, we had just trained this dog, and he was my best friend. He was my first dog ever. I grew up in a household that we weren't really allowed to have dogs. And so I lost Blue to lymphoma on January 6th, 2020. And
How old was he?
he was 6 years old.
6 years old.
So I didn't start training him till he was 4.5, 5.
Amazing. Good deal.
And so I lost him January 6th and didn't know if I was going to get another bird dog at that time. So the following year, it was a rough year for me. It turned to 2021. I had an injury at work where I had 2 herniated discs in my lower back. And that summer had back surgery. So the entire 2021 season into 2022, didn't hunt at all. Didn't have a bird dog. And something happened, and I was like, man, I got to get back into this. And I knew I wanted another Weimaraner. And so I started researching people and came across a breeder in Roanoke who, her and I are now really good friends, fast forward a few years, but I got a dog from her. And that's my main male right now, Mako. And started training him at 10 weeks old. So, I hit the ground running with him. I knew a little bit of what I was doing, grabbed some quail, some pigeons, got him going. And that fall, took him on a trip at 9 months old, took him on a trip to northern Michigan to get him into grouse. And that was my first experience really getting into grouse. And that's where I actually killed my first ruffed grouse.
Cool. Love it.
Mako is one heck of a name for a bird
How'd you
dog.
come up with that? That's a cool name.
Talk about
I love
a
the
hunting
names.
name.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about it, and like his AKC name is Mako the Land Shark.
Yeah. That's just
So-
awesome. I love that. Talk
It's
about a
so-
dog
it's so
that
funny.
hunts.
Yeah.
So I'm in northern Michigan with a friend of mine, and we'll talk about the minibus, I'm sure, at some point in this podcast.
Oh yeah, I had questions about that. Oh, yeah.
I'd bought the minibus that fall,
Okay.
and my back had healed up over a year's time, and I was good to go. And so we, spur of the moment, second week in November, took a trip to northern Michigan, bare bones minibus. It's single digits up there.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing, where to find grouse. And I think on the second to last day we were there, we got into grouse. And both of us ended up, he had a young GSP. And we went up there, and both of us got into grouse on that day. Both of them locked up. And I don't know which one of us shot the grouse, but it flew. And both of us missed the first shots, and it was like destiny that this grouse did a 180, turned around, and flew back towards us. And we ended up hitting it, and that moment right there, I mean, we're dancing around like little kids with shotguns in our hands. And Mako goes and retrieves this bird, and right then and there, I don't know if y'all have read or watched any of the movies of like Where the Red Fern Grows.
Yeah.
But the little boy in it with old Dan and little Ann, when he gets, his dogs finally tree that coon and he's successful, and he says something along the lines of like, from that day forward, I was coon crazy. Well, I was that 29-year-old little kid, and from that day forward, I was bird crazy.
Yeah.
Specifically ruffed grouse.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Man. What do you, I don't even know what to say. It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, this is all about you, this podcast, but it's like similar, the hunting aspect of it. I went to Michigan and shot my first bird, and I'm surprised Cody didn't hear me from up there screaming and hooting and hollering, and again, I had no idea what I was doing. Got it, Waylon is my dog's name, and it's not as cool name,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's funny. Real quick, a side note story of that. I let my wife picked out the dog, and I let my son name it, and he said Waylon. I'm like, hell yeah! And one day we're driving down the road. I said, "Oh, here's Waylon on the radio." And I said, "It's, you know, he named it after Waylon, right?" No.
Yeah.
It was. I said, he goes, "Who's that?" I was like, I failed as a father. I failed as a father.
Oh man.
Waylon Jennings is like, oh my god. Yeah, I thought he named it after Waylon Jennings, and he named it after a song, like I forget, Jake Owen, a dog named Waylon. That's where he got the name of. But anyway, yeah, Waylon, his story is just insane. I took it to a trainer. It didn't work out very well, and he ended up being gun shy. My dog's got more mental issues than I do, and but Michigan was the light bulb. You know, it was awesome. The woodcock that we shot, it was just hooked. Like, this is just, why haven't I been doing this my whole life?
Exactly.
Like, until you do it. That's why I can't wait till Cody gets into this more than what he has, and he's gonna, not that he doesn't understand. We're talking to him like he's not here, but it's just, if you could step aside, Cody, that'd be great. Go to the bathroom or something. Yeah. No, it's just, I know once he gets, especially if it's not in Michigan, but it's actually in Virginia. And, you know, when it all happens, whether it's my dog, your dog, Noah's dog, or whatever, you know, when it all comes together and he actually connects with it, even if you shoot it, or shoot at it, that's part of it. It has nothing to do with killing, you know. It's just like, it's hard to kill these things, you know. It's hard.
Very hard.
You know, that's why they taste so delicious, because you don't get to eat it a lot, so you just think it might taste delicious.
Especially after hiking all day, and then when you harvest one,
yeah,
it's better than any chicken you've ever eaten in your life.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter who killed it. It's like it was a team effort, and the dogs were involved. Especially if you have multiple dogs, they're honoring each other. It's just it's to see it, the fall colors, the smell. You know, everything about it. It's so, Cody mentioned earlier about the romance of it. We leave that out. You know, you do hear it from time to time, but truly the grouse, the romance of it all, from the dog to the forest. When you're walking, hunting, you're observing all that stuff, right? I mean, you're looking at cover, you're looking at species, food, everything. You're just alert. You're awake when you're hunting these birds. You're awake of the whole. You're just not walking, you know. And it's very romantic. So,
well, appreciate the sentiment. I don't go north often, so I'm hoping my first bird is south of the Mason-Dixon, where most good things in life tend to happen.
Oh my God.
Well,
moving on.
I can help you out with that if you want to come down at any point in time during the hunting season and watch some bird dogs run on some mountainsides in Appalachia.
I would love nothing more. That's a good segue. Tell us about your first Appalachian bird. Virginia, West Virginia?
Oh, God.
Where'd you shoot them?
Virginia. Virginia, actually. It was that same season. We get back, and I lived on a farm. I was a property manager for a couple. And there were two older gentlemen that deer hunted that farm. And it was not ideal mountain land for ruffed grouse. You know, very mature forests. And for some reason, there was a ruffed grouse there. And they were checking trail cameras or doing something like that. And they called me, and they were like, "Oh, you're never going to believe it. And it's Saturday, so I'm in the house watching Virginia Tech football." And they called me, and they were like, "Man, we just saw a ruffed grouse cross one of the little logging roads." And I was like, "Oh, no way." And they were like, "We hung a ribbon in the tree where we saw it." And they kind of gave me the whereabouts, and I'm like, "All right, Tech football can wait." Grabbed Mako, put the collar on him, grabbed my vest, grabbed my shotgun, went across the road, and I walked Mako up there, and I mean, it was like it was meant to be. He locked up immediately. I didn't even see the ribbon, and he just locks up on point. And it's this little area. There's a creek bottom, very much native cover, rhododendrons, laurels, very hard to see in that area, but he locks up on point. I walk out in front of him and I see the ribbon about 20 yards in front of me. And all of a sudden this grouse lifts and I pull the trigger and drop it. And Mako goes and fetches it for me and brings it back. And it was a young bird, probably a chick from that year.
Yeah.
I do believe it was a male. I mean, it had the band was intact. It had the 2 dots on its feathers on the back. That's not a guarantee, but I think it was a male, but it was young, and it was definitely a transplant from a fella that I knew down the road who managed his property for ruffed grouse. And I think it was one of those situations where it was a male, and it was, I've read and I've heard that they'll just get to a point where if it's kind of overcrowded in that area, they just fly away.
Yeah.
And they look for a new area, and he was in less than ideal cover.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he landed in an area that a new grouse hunter lived on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I was about to say, that sounds like how I'm going to have to get my first grouse. I joke with people, I'm going to have to deer hunt it like I film them. I'm going to have to set up my blind on a drumming log. It would be helpful if somebody could flag it, the last known location of it. That sounds like how I'm going to have to get mine.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, at that point in time, I was still in the business of trying to kill a ruffed grouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd done the research. I trained the dog. So, like, everything, I was geared towards hunting a ruffed grouse and successfully harvesting one. And I did that year. And that was, I went hunting a lot after that and flew a bunch of grouse, but that was the only one I killed that season.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question, kind of put you on the spot. And it's going to be a hard question to answer on the spot like this, but someone who's lived all sides of this, I mean, what is your pitch to somebody? What would be Riley's pitch to somebody who is not understanding of this lifestyle and what the species represents, and more importantly, what it takes to create the habitat that these birds and other species can thrive on? I mean, what would be since you're a great example of, because you lived it, like what would your Riley's pitch be to somebody like Cody and I are sympathetic toward the anti-logging sentiment? Go.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard question. It is a hard
question. Yeah. And a lot of what I'm doing now, and I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point, but I'm starting and running an upland game preserve. Starting this fall. And the biggest part of that to me is to expose people to a working dog and that relationship, to see a dog work the field and do what they were bred to do and lock up on point. And yes, it's pen raised birds there, but just to show people that haven't done it or that haven't done it in a long time what it's about and why I fell in love with it, which was the dog in the first place. And then that led me to the ruffed grouse. And then that's led me all over this country chasing over a dozen different species of birds throughout my travels. But I would love for people to see that firsthand in a controlled environment, because but all three of us know that we don't have the grouse numbers that we used to. I hear from all these old timers about the heyday of grouse in the 70s and 80s and prior to that even, and I'm just like, all right, stop talking.
No, it's an honest reaction.
I was born too late. I get it.
Yeah.
And, if I can show the younger generation what it's like to see a bird dog lock up and see a bird fly and just show them what it's like to experience that firsthand, maybe, just maybe, one day when they're able to purchase land or they inherit family farmland or something, that the first thing that crosses their mind is, let's manage this property for a ruffed grouse. Or for ruffed grouse, turkeys, deer. I mean, you can do it all.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to manage the place just for ruffed grouse. Mm-hmm. You can manage it for all the species. And a timber cut, to me, back in the day, was like, oh my gosh, you're going to kill every species within that 20, 30, 40 acres, whatever it is. Back before I was educated, I was ignorant to the facts. But, you know, if that younger individual, when they get to the point and they inherit this land or buy this land or whatever it is, like with me, when I bought this land, I knew before we even closed on it, the first order of business was a timber cut for ruffed grouse, whether I had them on the property or not. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was going to do that because of my love for the ruffed grouse and knowing that they need that early successional forest and habitat and cover that is not there with a mature forest.
It's funny. Cody and I had a wonderful conversation. I think it was yesterday about, you know, who we are and what we represent. And we were both under the understanding that it's management first and then hunting second. And I echo that because we don't want to be known as, you know, a bunch of, you know, that's what we're doing. This is what we're here for. But it is at the same time. It's the end result of it, if you will. But at the same time, to convince people, to show people the truth and just all this stuff, sometimes something like a dog on point is that thing. And I don't want to ever shy away, and Cody doesn't either, but it's just like the hunting aspect of this might be that thing to push, to show like it did for you. So it's amazing to hear that what you just said. That's I love hearing it, that you're doing this, and hopefully you bring some new people into this and they do fall in love with the whole thing, even though they are, you know, place birds and stuff. It's still the dog working, and it's just something when a dog goes on point. When a bird dog goes on point, man, is that a drug?
Oh gosh, tell me about it.
Even if it's pet, even when it's training, when you got pigeons,
yeah,
when he just they're especially like a, you know, a setter's different than, you know, a Wimer and not Riley, but the actual dog Wimer. It's sorry, I had to get that in there somewhere. Anyway, so when they're working and all of a sudden, bam, they just like they just lock up, or you can just go over and you can push him over. And my dog, he like, you could see it's like the corner of his eye, like, dude, it is right there.
Yeah.
You know, my dog's got such a personality. He's like, he's on point and you can see him like his corner of his eye, like, dude, you know, it's awesome. It's so awesome. But to be able to experience that, and I wish you the most success with that. You know, because hopefully that will lead, because someone like you yourself could have those conversations when hunting with new people more than what you're just doing, more about just the warm season grasses and CRP or whatever, about logging and cutting that you're doing. Those conversations will happen, I'm sure, somehow, some way, when you're entertaining, you know. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your farm, Riley. You just bought it, like it's new to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Ish.
Yeah, very new.
Tell us about it, how big it is. I know you mentioned it, and I know that you just done a cut with Noah, who helped you facilitate that. And by all means, shout out Noah and give him his flowers. But give us a rundown of the property, the timber cut that you did. Did you clear cut it all? Is it one big cut, multiple smaller cuts? Give us the down and dirty of your new farm.
Yeah. So, I quit my job, a very cushy job with a wonderful couple to work with, full benefits, place to live. And I had this minibus that I converted into an RV. And I just knew that I wanted to hit the road and travel the country in pursuit of birds. And I dubbed it the Bird Bus.
Bird bus.
I mean, that's what this little bird did. This little Ruffed Grouse, man. Just, my life took a 180 turn and left everything to go chase birds across this country. And so me, my brother, and my sister knew that we had been in works, and we knew that we wanted to buy a piece of property together. And the only way that we could afford it was if we all went in together. And so I fortunately was in Idaho in Hell's Canyon in, early October.
I fought forest fires there.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was in Oregon, actually, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was camped on the Snake River looking at Oregon, but living in Idaho.
Yeah, halfway Oregon.
And so I found this this ranch that was hiring a upland bird hunting guide on Indeed one evening. And I'm the type of person, it is very difficult for me to sit still. So, like, I was living the dream, being out there hunting, fishing. In Hell's Canyon, you can hunt 5 different species in a day. But I just needed something else to do. So I applied for this job, got the job, ended up guiding for this ranch there. And I was just on the computer looking at stuff back home, and this property in Wytheville came up for sale. And it was 212 acres. The price was right. I was familiar with Wythe County. Called my brother, called my sister, and I was like, guys, this is it. Let's do it. And, I'm still working in Idaho. Like, I'm there for a few months at least. And I had a buddy of mine that was a real estate agent, so I called him. My whole family came out and looked at the property with my brother and sister. And before we even made an offer on it, I was on the phone with Noah. Because I knew, like, if I'm buying a property, it's going to be managed for ruffed grouse. And there's a lot of fields here, a lot of bottoms with autumn olives, but there's probably, I don't know, maybe 120 acres out of it are mountainside forested land, mature forest. And so I knew that if we closed on this property, the first order of business was to have a timber cut so that I could have potentially in my 50s, 60s, I don't know, at some point in time, a population of ruffed grouse on the property. And so, everything worked out. We closed on it. I had to come home a little bit earlier than I wanted to, and got back in early January. I think we closed on it on January 26th of this year. And Noah's crew rolled in there March 1st, 2nd, something like that, and started cutting. And it is a 25-acre cut that we clear cut the whole thing. With plans in the future to cut more. 5-6 years down the road, we'll do another 25-acre cut and kind of work it from there to create these different age classes of forest for ruffed grouse. Man. And luckily, when I got here, there were ruffed grouse already here.
I was going to ask you that. I thought you'd mentioned to me that you had already had some resident birds.
And there's not many, and it's kind of one of those things, autumn olives. They are a double-edged sword. because they do provide cover and food for ruffed grouse, but they are highly invasive. And unfortunately, the ruffed grouse that I do have reside in the autumn olives. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to create some habitat for them to move on to as I progress in the management of this property, to change that cover from autumn olives to more native species. And I can't really go in right now and just decimate all the autumn olives and replant it with desirables, because where are the grouse going to go?
Yeah. We have this conversation, Cody and I, all the time. Yeah, continue. Yep.
And so, right now, my autumn olives, I'm keeping them under control. I'm not letting them spread any further. I keep the dogs out of those areas. I don't hike in those areas. I know that there are grouse there. I've had 2 of my dogs point them already and fly them here. So those are no-go zones on the property. Mm-hmm. I'm just letting those birds establish. Hopefully they bred this year. I heard a little bit of drumming across the road this spring when I was turkey hunting. And I hope that this timber cut in years to come will provide them more habitat, more food, places for them to kind of expand to as I end up reworking this probably 50-acre autumn olive patch, if you will.
That big of all autumn olive.
Yeah. I mean, there's some pines in there, and there's some chinkapin oaks, there's some hawthorns, blueberries, other things that grouse utilize, but it's primarily autumn olives.
Hey, not to interrupt your thought. Yeah. Have you signed up like government program type stuff to get some cost share for like shrub planting and stuff like that, or?
I have, yes. Noah was out a little while ago. We signed up for, the crop tree release program. Mm-hmm. Up on the forested areas I didn't have the timber cut take place. And yeah, the state will pay you to clear invasives like autumn olives. But to me, being just my passion for ruffed grouse, my love for ruffed grouse, I can't even begin to explain. So I would leave. I'd rather forego that government money and leave those areas in autumn olives right now until I can set up and establish other areas for those birds to go. And now my property does back up to about 7,300 acres of WMA. And I've hiked those areas, and I haven't found any grouse, but the rhododendrons and laurels are so thick on that north-facing side of the mountain that I know there's grouse there.
Yeah.
So if I build something for them, they're going to have somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got a sweet spot. The whole autumn olive conversation, I mean, we've touched on it with a few guests. Eric and I have talked about it, he and I together, and I don't know, you will not find somebody who has killed, well, maybe, I'm sure you would, like an actual professional, but somebody like me who's killed more invasives than I have, and autumn olives at the top of the list. But people in our circle, and we know the answer to this question, and the future of grouse management in Appalachia, and I mean, this is a question like biologists have to be honest with themselves in asking, state agencies, private landowners. Would you rather have a thicket of autumn olive and grouse, or would you have no grouse and native habitat? And I mean, it's not an either or, because it's somebody like me, and I'm knocking myself down a rung of the ladder a bit. It feels good. We feel self-righteous a little bit to kill invasive species and promote native habitat and say, look at me go. But with the grouse goggles that we so often talk about, to what detriment to that species? And it's 2026, and we just I think we have to be very honest and realistic with ourselves, because, and it's specific to autumn olive, because stilt grass or ceresia, a number of non-native invasives have no place in our ecosystems. But when we're thinking about, invasives and where do we prioritize our time and energy with a focus on ruffed grouse. We just have to be very honest with ourselves because we're not getting rid of any of them, autumn olive included. We're never going to eradicate them. They're here to stay. So I think you're doing it. It's a perfect example of the way that you're doing it is to use them to your advantage. Have them to hold grouse. You've got grouse, have them to hold the birds while you facilitate a better long-term, more sustainable plan into the future, which is native habitat in a native forest ecosystem. So create that, use the autumn olive to hold them, and then when you have suitable habitat, then you can chip away and monitor them as you go. But I don't know, it's just autumn olive especially. We just got to be honest with ourselves when we're thinking about the future of grouse in Virginia, Western North Carolina, West Virginia, Ohio, thinking about their utility to the species. And that's not advocating that we plant them like our father's generation used to do or anything like that. But, like in your situation, a grouse that Eric has filmed in one of his clients' properties, it's similar to that. And if you take autumn olive off the landscape, where there are grouse, that might very well likely be the last grouse that ever calls that pocket of God's green earth home. And that's just something we got to be mindful of. And I kudos to you for recognizing that. And I know, your passion for the species and your passion for the habitat and it says a lot about you to say no to that government funding for the greater good of the species. I hope more people kind of follow what blueprint you've laid out, because I think it's a great example of how to navigate. It is a tricky situation.
It is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
So where's your siblings come in on this? Not to get personal, and you can tell me to shut up, but it's like, how do they fit into the mix of you moved in, thanks for buying me a 212 acres of ground. Like, how does that, are they on board with the ruffed grouse thing and stuff? I should have asked that question.
No, you should.
Not to make it personal. Tell me about your brother and sister.
Yeah,
it's a personal question, but
sorry.
It is.
I didn't mean it.
It is one of those things that when we went into this, they knew that I wanted to start an upland game preserve.
Okay,
and they know my passion for ruffed grouse. They may not understand the timber cut. So we don't. I'm the only one on the deed for the property. They help me with the down payment and, I pay the mortgage and everything, but we kind of split it to where to afford 212 acres, we all went in evenly on the down payment for the property. But the management of the property is entirely up to me. And they knew immediately, before we even purchased it, I was like, guys, I'm going to cut some timber. And you're not going to like the way it looks right now. Because it's not a pretty thing. When you go from a forested area, we cut 25 acres to this just clear cut. And to the uneducated mind and eyes, that is very ugly. But I look at it with such admiration. I look at that 25 acre clear cut and I'm like, yeah, it's ugly now, but guys, wait.
That's
my nephew's 4 years old, so and he loves dogs. So I'm sort of grooming him. To be this, I don't have any children of my own, but I'm grooming him to be this this dog trainer, running bird dogs at some point in his life. And my brother-in-law and sister, they love that idea. So
that's great.
I look at this clear cut as when John is a young teenager, I can take him hunting there. And I won't ever shoot a grouse off of my property. These are going to be my best friends, my pets. But to expose someone like him to it, and he gets to experience that at some point, I think they'll look at it 10 years, 15 years down the road and be like, Riley, you did the right thing.
Yeah. That's why I asked the question. I was hoping there was an answer like that other than me asking personal questions. That's why I kind of asked it, was to get an answer like that. And how does that sound familiar, Cody? Right? I was thinking of Kit the whole time when he was talking about that. But yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, my nephew's 7, Riley, and I'm doing the same thing. Not so much with the bird hunting aspect or bird dogs, but I'm grooming him to be I don't know what you would call it, steward of Rockin' Chair Ridge, I reckon. I got him pulling up mullen. Conservationist, yeah. I've got it. He has developed at such a young age a very similar and strong hatred for invasive species like his uncle. So I feel like we're going down the right path and we're at the right pace. But it's all a lie, Riley, because when Cody passes, he's going to like turn it into a golf course. Like,
God,
he's done.
Data
can sell it.
You know how many people have asked me, because I'm like the only person on this road that has grassland. Everything around me is mature forests. I've probably had a dozen people ask, are you going to set up a golf course?
Really?
Like a little 9-hole golf course? And I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah. I tell you what, that's wild, man. I mean, if you think about it, that the majority of the people, they see what's happening. That's where their mind goes. You know what I mean? It just it speaks to, I don't know, and no fault of the, not to knock those people, no fault of their own, but it's wild that the three of us, especially with a species like grouse, because it's so rare. Most people manage for deer and turkey, which is fine. It's just so rare to make management decisions for grouse. But when somebody sees cutting or clearing that it immediately goes to house building or golf courses or stuff like that, it's wild, and it says a lot about kind of where we are as society, I guess. But
big Dollar General. You should have said, no, DG's coming.
Yeah.
I bet folks around here would actually love that.
I mean, to be honest, not on my property, not on yours. I do like a good, just middle of the nowhere Dollar General.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
classic.
Right?
They're classic.
That's a sign that you're in, like, just Appalachia.
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
you're middle of
nowhere
nowhere
represents.
Appalachia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even in Ohio, man, you drive in the middle of nowhere and bam,
Dollar General.
Dollar General.
Yeah.
There's a DG, man, and not just a DG market. The market.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
We can pick up some bananas with my deodorant.
Dude, you could do all your shopping there.
Right?
It's awesome.
That's it.
You can sustain from a Dollar General market.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway.
This timber cut, Riley, speak on what you can or as much as you know about the market down there. Number one, what kind of timber were you cutting? Was it in terms of species, and just was it really junky, or was there actually some good logs in it? And then where, to the best of your knowledge, where were they taking it?
Well, it was pretty junky. I'm not going to lie to you.
Most of it is in around here.
There was, Noah and Corey came in and started cutting, and the first thing they said was there had to have been a wildfire here at some point. And discussions with neighbors, yes, there were 2 wildfires, and that leads to, if they get really hot, that leads to hollow logs.
Yeah.
And so it's predominantly, I was looking at it like, maybe I'll make some money off of this. That would be great. It's predominantly white oak, scarlet oak, and chestnut oak. And when they started cutting, I monetarily speaking, I did make a little bit, but that was never the goal behind it. Before I even laid eyes on the property, like I said before, talking to Noah in Idaho, there was going to be a timber cut for Ruffed Grouse. So they got out here and started cutting, and just, thank goodness the pulpwood industry is still accepting logs. Because if they weren't accepting logs, I don't think there would have been a timber cut on this property.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to create future grouse habitat.
It's funny. Eric and I were talking earlier. There's this, not to get too sidetracked, but and we can talk about it, Riley. This may be right up your alley. Like the relationship between, and this is obviously a long time ago, in the 1700s, the ruffed grouse and the passenger pigeons, I think, were just the best of friends.
We could talk about the passenger pigeon for like the next 3 or 4 hours. It's
wild, the correlation and the relationship between the two, and we can certainly do that. But now at the pulp markets are the saving grace for ruffed grouse. I don't know if you spent much time up here in the Allegheny Highlands, Bath, Allegheny Highland, Rockbridge. Where I'm from, we got Smurfit, the pulp and paper mill. It's the same thing. The I call it timber. It's hardly that. That goes into that mill's not good. We're cutting close to 70 acres off our place right now. It's not good. But exact same situation that you're in. If it weren't for the pulp market, we would have nowhere to take that fiber, and as a result, there would be no new habitat on the ground for ruffed grouse. So ruffed grouse and pulp, the pulp market, it's the savior. Truly. I mean, not to be dramatic, but that pulpwood market in Appalachia is a savior for private landowners looking to manage early successional young forest and ruffed grouse.
And just to touch on that, I'd seen one of your Instagram posts or reels a while back. Like when you're at the airport or something and you're the first person to use paper towels.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm at Walmart checking out, and it's like, do you want a text message receipt or a receipt? And I'm like, receipt.
Print it. Yeah.
Receipt. Exactly. Print it.
Dude, I was at this Ohio State Fair the other day, and I was in the bathroom, and I was just yanking, and I was looking around going, somebody, just anybody, come on. Somebody say something. Just stop me yanking. Yep. I'm like, please, somebody give me a look. I'm able to tell you what I'm doing. It's funny. So, how did you brought up Noah? Like, you were in Idaho. Did you know Noah? Did you know of his reputation? How did you get a hold of Noah, and why Noah?
So, my previous job, I lived in Bland County, Virginia, and my dog breeder, who I had mentioned earlier, who's now one of my really good friends, Meredith Wadsworth, who runs Southpaw Weimariners, she messaged me on Facebook one day, and she was like, dude, you got to meet this guy that lives around you. He's a big grouse hunter, Noah Smith, and sent me his contact info, and this was probably 4 years ago. And I messaged him and started chit-chatting, and very like-minded individuals. He obviously studied forestry at West Virginia. Me having an environmental horticulture background, we both have a deep appreciation for the forest, for ruffed grouse. And we met up, and unfortunately we've never been hunting before, but I tried to get my previous employers to do a little timber cut on their property. They weren't having that, but Noah came out and surveyed it a little bit. Never got to the point of cruising the timber, but we just stayed in touch ever since then. And I just knew that when I bought this property, I trusted him. I knew him. We'd talked about grouse hunting a lot and management, and he's a very respected forester in this area. I think now he lives probably 20, 30 minutes down the road from me. And so I knew when I was in Idaho, I was like, look, I called him and I was like, we're looking at this property. It's on this mountain. He had cruised some timber around me that borders this property. So I didn't even really entertain the idea of reaching out to anyone else. I just got back, signed the contract. Y'all start logging.
What do you think y'all's relationship would have been and how the conversations would have gone if pre-ruffed grouse Riley would have met Noah Smith?
Oh man,
I would love to have been a fly on the wall
question,
for those.
Before you answer that question, there's two parts of that. There's just Noah the person, and then there's Noah the forester. Because Noah the person, He's doing biscuit reviews, and I wanting more biscuit reviews from him. It's like, so go ahead.
So
Yeah,
we would not have gotten along. So let me just put that out there, plain and simple. Like, and in all honesty, like we were both like you're looking at like hippie Riley. I mean, I was an educated individual, but if we would have sat down and had that conversation about conservation versus preservation, he would have destroyed me. Mm-hmm. Because I was looking at it in a preservation standpoint. Mm-hmm. And being ignorant to the various species that utilize early successional forest, we would have talked about wildlife management and all of that, and he knew a lot more about that than I did. I just liked trees and flowers. So if we would have sat down and had that conversation, we would have not gotten along, and two, he'd have probably made me look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But luckily, I met this little bird.
That's right.
Named the Ruffed Grouse.
Truly. I'd have never met Noah Smith if it weren't for the Ruffed Grouse.
And it changed my life so drastically for the better.
Yeah.
So let's transition just a little bit. We can go back and forth here, but I'm on your social media just right now, and let's start at the beginning. Talk about the bus. I wanted to get that out of the thing. I was going through that, and I was like, I seen it, and that's funny that you brought it up because I was like, I'm asking him about this.
Yeah. So 2021, I had my back surgery in June 4th. And like I said, I had lost my dog to cancer. Had a couple of my buddies from high school reach out, and they were like, we do this duck hunting and hog hunting trip in Texas every year. Do you want to come? And I was like, sure, that sounds great. So I took a week vacation, and we flew during like peak COVID. Mm-hmm. And we had everything, we had Pelican cases with TSA approved locks. We went down there and had a blast, but like we had 2 layovers in each direction because my buddy Dave is incredibly cheap and found the cheapest flight possible. And man, we were harassed at every stop. Like TSA cut our locks, even though they had keys. Even though they had keys, they cut our locks. And so we flew to Hoboken, New Jersey, and then I think Atlanta, and then to Dallas. It was just this crazy route to get there. Once again, Dave is cheap.
Poor Dave.
And so every stop, TSA made us buy new locks.
Wow, I've never heard such a thing.
It was just awful in my experience. The hunting trip was great. I mean, skies blacked out with ducks. The hog hunting was cool.
Yeah.
But I knew when I was there, I was like, because I was really getting into hunting, and I was a late onset hunter. Mm-hmm. Didn't get into it until my late 20s. And I started looking at things. I was like, man, I want to buy an RV. Because screw this flying thing. What we went through during COVID, I was not going to fly with guns again, and I still haven't. To this point, I have not flown with a gun since then. Yeah. And so, I could afford an RV, but I was not paying $50,000-$60,000 for an RV. So I found this. They have all these schoolie conversion things on YouTube. And I found this online auction out of Georgia, and they had an 03 minibus. It was a Ford minibus. My old work truck had a 7.3 diesel in it, and I had rebuilt that motor to that work truck in my buddy's basement with him. So I know that motor like the back of my hand. And so I found this bus, and it was low mileage 03 Ford 7.3, and I'm like, purchased. Wired them the money, sight unseen. They shipped it up, and that was, I think I got it in late September that year. And first week of November, Connor and I took it to northern Michigan to go grouse hunting. Mm-hmm. Bare bones, no insulation. Mm-hmm. just strip the seats out of it, put some cots in it, a dog crate, a generator, and a space heater, and a Yeti cooler. We went up there, man. It was like 6 degrees.
And Michigan cold's Michigan cold, man. Like, God. I want to hear more, and not to interrupt you, but we went up there and we camped, like, because it's just fun. We were intense with buddy heaters, and it was, I think, in the teens to low 20s, and it's a different cold.
Oh, it's oh my gosh. Like, one of the nights I remember, we're sleeping on these like little micro twin cots that I bought on Amazon, and we had 3 dogs with us, and I'm in bed with like 3 or 4 layers on in a sleeping bag with all 3 dogs on this little cot. And I remember him saying, like, give me a dog, man. Come on, give me a dog. I'm like, not a chance, dude. Man. Not a chance. Like, we're not putting these dogs in crates. I need these dogs. I need them.
Yeah. Give me a dog. Give me the center. Give me the center at least.
Oh, gosh. And we're, like, putting up tarps and whatnot to block the windows because the draft was coming in so cold.
Yeah. Oh, what a story.
Oh, it was great, but it was awful at the same time. Like, that struggle through that week. And then, so the last morning, we're, like, 7 miles down a logging road, and Michigan has that thing when rifle season starts, all small games close. Small game season closes. So that was our last night there, and we woke up that morning at like 5 a.m. just freezing to death, and there's like 8 inches of snow on the ground. And this is a 2-wheel drive minibus.
Love it.
With highway tires on it, and I'm like, shit.
Love it.
Let's start this thing up and get it to operating temperature. And I'm like, I'm just gonna lay down on that pedal, and we're just gonna drive through these logging roads until we get out of here. Because if we don't, we're stuck. Because it's gonna snow all day long. Like, they were calling for like 18 inches of snow that day.
Yeah.
So I'm just ripping through these logging roads, just bumping. I don't know if you've ever been on a minibus, but it is not comfortable.
Yes, I have.
It's terrible.
Love it.
No, I ripped the the speaker system off the side. I ripped that off, going down these logging roads, because I'm just getting it like 20, 25 miles an hour. Because if we stop, we're stuck.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we made it out. Got on the highway, drove back, snowed the whole way back home, and we did it all in one day.
No, really?
And drove back
do you
to
still have
County.
this?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I lived in it this year for about 6 months.
God.
That's amazing.
I so resent you, Riley, right now. It's unbelievable. Like, you're my spirit person. It's just like, I'm just going to pack up, quit my job, go to Idaho, and find some property. God.
It wasn't just Idaho. I mean, there was. So what led me to know that I was going to quit my job was the year before I did. I had 2 weeks vacation with that job. And so I told my bosses I wanted to take both of them at the same time. And I strategized. We had federal holidays off with that job too. So I strategized this time that there were 2 federal holidays that fell in that 2-week window. So I pushed it to almost a 3-week trip. And I went by myself with 6 bird dogs in this minibus to Wisconsin to grouse hunt, Minnesota to grouse hunt, and North Dakota to hunt the plains. And I did that, and it was a very successful trip. Hunted sharptails, huns, pheasants, ruffed grouse, spruce grouse. And on my way back, this was October of 2024? Yeah, 2024. And I knew that the following upland season, I was going to quit that job and I was going to hit the road. So I saved all my money. I sold most all my belongings. I had a John Deere Gator side by side, sold it, Sold everything. Sold a couple guns even, which is something that I,
Sold plasma, gave blood.
I mean, I would have, man. And I told them, and so I left for this trip on my 33rd birthday and drove straight out with my 4 dogs and made it to Wyoming first. Got to Wyoming and hunted in the snowy mountain range for blue grouse. And the bus, first day I get to the top of this mountain, it's like just over 10,000 foot elevation. The bus just starts losing power.
Yeah.
And so I pull over, and by the time I pull over, I'm so giddy I hadn't even checked any of the gauges or anything. This thing's overheated to the point where it's blowing coolant out of the reservoir.
Nice.
So started my trip on that note. Got it fixed, and at this point I've got the bus retrofitted. It's got solar panels, it's got water tanks.
Yeah.
It's fully livable. I made a custom little bed in the back. It had cabinets, welded dog crates in it. And luckily got that fixed. Met some incredible people in Wyoming that took care of me. Hunted rough grouse in Wyoming outside of the Tetons for a week. Went up to Montana and hunted, and then over to Idaho because the end goal was to go chucker hunting. Because I had heard that the chucker was the hardest bird in America to hunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, I think Appalachian rough grouse are harder.
Yeah. I bet. Okay. So here's the plan. I retire in a couple years, and we're going to kidnap Noah. We're going to kidnap Cody, and we're all going to go on a trip. Okay. We're just going to go on a trip. Just some guys with the dogs, some food in the Yeti, and we're just going to go. I can see it. I can just see it. We're just going to have a ball. This is going to be good.
Sign me up.
Oh yeah, man. This is awesome.
And I'll tell you what, there's 2 places that I have in mind for that trip. Hell's Canyon in Idaho.
Yeah.
Or Arizona/New Mexico from Mearns quail.
See, yeah, this is a grouse thing, and I don't want to talk quail, but I've seen those pictures on social and stuff, and man, that's on the. I got so many questions that we'll talk about off the podcast, like the dog care and all that other stuff. Because, man, well, how you pronounce that? Gabrielle quail, right?
Gamble.
I'm sorry, Gambles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Idaho at Boise, and they were everywhere.
Yeah.
In that area and stuff, and I think they're down there where you're talking too, right? I mean,
yeah, they are.
They I see them. Sonora? Do they go so far south to be Sonora?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I'd see them down there, mule and coos deer. And they're funny little things. Scooting across the road.
Quail hunts.
Quail
hunting's addicting too. Yeah. Quail hunting is addicting too. Like that is something.
Oh, it is.
Man, my dog was killing it. He was doing a great job. He had a little mental breakdowns from here to there, but who doesn't have that? But yeah, it was, but it was awesome too. But no, we need to do Michigan. We need to do a whole bunch of stuff, man.
Honestly, Wisconsin.
Oh, talk about that.
Northern Wisconsin. I don't know if they just had a good year for rough grouse when I was there, but man.
Do you worry about wolves?
No, I had read all about them because I was just south of Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay, you're in wolf country, yeah.
Primarily hunting, and that is wolf country. And I'd actually found some mountain lion tracks when I was there too.
Yeah,
and showed them to the state forest ranger, and he was just like, "Well, I can neither confirm nor deny."
Yeah.
But that if it's not a mountain lion, that's the biggest bobcat track I've ever seen.
Yeah. How about porkies? Do you get running a lot of porkies up there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the dog get one? Dog get one, I take
Yeah,
it?
a couple dogs did.
I haven't had that. And it's not if, it's when. It's not if, it's when. I might be going. I had to cancel it. I just, there's no way to go. I got too much going on, and Cody and I got some big thing here coming up soon, and I just don't have the time, because the time I have off has to go be invested in that. North Dakota to hunt Sharpies and Huns there, and they said porkies and skunks. You got to be aware. Like you gotta be aware. Heads on the swivel. My dog don't range very far, so I could control it, but still out on that prairie, you don't know. But like when I hunt Pennsylvania or even Michigan, my head was like, my first time hunting Michigan, I was consumed by it. My anxiety on it, I was making myself sick. I was worried about my dog. He'd get 20 yards, and I go, wait. Wait, get over here. I was. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I better be by myself, because it's going to be very unpleasant and embarrassing when it happens. Like, I don't know what to do. I ain't going to know what's going on. But
it's awful. One of the benefits we do have in Appalachia is not harboring that species in southern Appalachia, at least.
Yeah.
It's not something we have to worry about here. But I mean, I took a couple friends' dogs up to North Dakota with me, and fortunately none of my dogs got into porcupines, but one of them pointed one, and I'm like, damn, that's a staunch point. Like, this is going to be a rise of sharp tails to rival all others, because it was gorgeous. Right. I come up and I see this porcupine like 5 foot in front of him, and I'm like, oh no. And I try and grab him and pull him back, and he was just like, nope, I'm going to bite it. And he bit it, and I mean, he locked onto it and shook it. And then the female that I had running with him, she came in and bit it a couple times. And I think Ace had 100-something quails in him.
No.
And I'm in the little Missouri grasslands of North Dakota, so I am like, 60 minutes from the closest town.
Wow.
And I don't even know if that town of Beach, North Dakota had a vet. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to pull out the Leatherman and just get to work. And I sat there for 2 hours pulling quills out of these dogs.
Yeah.
And luckily I had some drugs in the bus, some amoxicillin and stuff for dogs, and I treated them and sidelined them for a couple days, and it ended up being fine. But it is something in those areas that you have to, inevitably you're going to run into at some point if you run enough dogs.
Yeah. It's like South Dakota wasn't, only thing we had to worry about there early season was snakes, and that was prairie towns, prairie dog towns and stuff. We just avoided prairie dog towns, and so I wasn't necessarily worried about that. But Michigan, worried about porkies, and Pennsylvania, I hunt up there occasionally, and that's frustrating because that place there has a lot of grouse on it, and I haven't been able to connect on it. And I think I need more dogs. My dog is a good dog, but he's far from, a grouse pointing machine by any stretch of the mean either. So I think I need to take some more people and some other dogs, to really capitalize on that and stuff. But anyway.
Well, I got a question for you. It is I guess it's the name of your preserve, maybe, certainly your Instagram handle, Feathers Over Fur. What's the inspiration behind that?
Good question.
It's kind of something I thought of that really has dual meanings to it. Sorry, I'm getting swarmed by dogs.
No, right, we're dog friendly here. Trust me.
I've got 11 dogs in my house right now.
How many?
11.
You're like the crazy cat lady. What do you got going on?
Yeah, except for with bird dogs.
What do you got? They're all yours?
No. I'm board and training a few. My buddy's dogs are here right now. 5 of them are mine.
5.
So it's a madhouse.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So feathers over fur, it's kind of it's a dual meaning thing. The emphasis that I place on hunting, I value feathered animals more than furred animals. And, I've never been a big white-tailed deer hunter, and I know the vast majority of people, especially in Appalachia, are deer hunters. And I appreciate that. I am a deer hunter, but it's just never been something that I've been super passionate about. And so I think ruffed grouse in general, if other people appreciated them like we do, like all three of us do, and probably a lot of folks listening to this podcast, I value feathered animals more than furred animals. And the other side of that is kind of just that idea that like a dog goes on point and you're shooting a feathered animal over them.
That's cool.
Whether that be a ruffed grouse, a quail, whatever you're pursuing.
Shooting feathers over fur. That's cool. Yeah. I figured the first side of the coin that you shared, I assumed that. The second side, that's cool. Feathers over fur. I like a good pun, so excuse the giddiness, but I just think that's really cool. Well done. That's awesome. Yeah. So is that the name of your preserve as well?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Tell us about that. What do you got going on? I know it's new, but where is it right now, and what's your big picture plan for it?
Well, the farm itself is 212 acres. I took the majority of the fields when I bought the place, and I sprayed and killed everything because it was that fescue rye mix that is not conducive for quail. And not that I'm raising or trying to promote wild quail, because they've been gone from this area for a long time. I killed and sprayed everything, tilled it all up, and I've planted it primarily in big blue stem, Indian grass, switchgrass, and a mix of native wildflowers. And I'm trying to, I really would like to have it as a native stand of grasses, as opposed to most preserves that go in and plant strips of sorghum, millet, winter wheat, stuff like that. So that's kind of my goal behind it, is to make it this environment that people would have seen in the 70s when quail were numerous here.
Well, if you need help, not that you do, just throwing it out there, I know two guys that could give you a hand in direction or advice or whatever, with that. I mean, this is,
there's somebody to burn it, because you'll have to burn it.
Yes.
Oh, we're gonna burn some stuff.
Oh yeah, we're gonna light her up. Don't you worry about that.
Noah was out here a handful of times this spring, and man, I mean, as y'all know, Eric, I don't know how it was in Ohio, but Cody, I mean, Virginia, it was drier than dry.
Yeah.
And so I put in the fire breaks, and we just never got a chance to burn.
Yeah.
But next year, I have a feeling the local fire department is going to know me very well.
Yeah. Make friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because we're going to burn. Friends. We're going to burn a lot.
Yeah.
Well, this is a question for you about those cuts. And I'm sure you guys have a plan. Is it, those clear cuts, are you just going to let them regenerate, or are you going to let them go for 2 or 3 years, burn them, and then let them go? Are y'all going to put any fire onto those? Like in the first 5 years of their, the regrowth cycle, or are you just going to let them go, let them do their thing?
This year, we're going to let everything go and just see how they respond. Mm-hmm. The cut was primarily white oak, chestnut oak, scarlet oak with some pines in it. I was fortunate in that area. We didn't have any invasives like ailanthus or autumn olives or anything like that. So there were some maples that obviously aren't invasives, but not conducive to ruffed grouse. We're going to let it grow back this year. And then next spring, we're going to go in and burn it and see how it responds to that. And base future projects on how it responds. Like I'm going to go in and stump spray those maples, a lot of the pines, not all of the pines. And fortunately for me, Noah lives right down the road, and he knows a lot more about this than I ever will about forest management. So I've got a good person on my team and on my side that's also incredibly passionate about ruffed grouse, and we're going to manage this thing together to facilitate ruffed grouse, which will also bring in, great grounds for white-tailed deer, turkeys, rabbits, everything.
Keep the deer under control. That's another topic for another day, but keep those deer numbers down. Cody and I are going to start jumping on that bandwagon since deer season's coming upon us pretty soon. That deer populations, grouse populations kind of coincide. I mean, it's just you got to control the one to have the other, and we need to start discussing that more and more. But that's for another day. But yeah, you got to have a support team. You got to have a a plane. Excuse me, I don't know where staff came from, but yeah,
I'd love to have a staff.
yeah, like we all would. Trust me. Yeah, I don't know where I say some random shit. Anyway, so but yeah, it's good to have somebody to lean on when you need them and stuff and plan. And Cody, how far away? Like where that client that I have down there that has a commercial. Where's he?
Franklin County.
Is that what that was? The gentleman
does
a TV commercial.
Yeah. How far are you from Franklin County, Riley?
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's just southeast of Roanoke, I think. Somewhere.
How far are you from off 77?
I'm about, I think it's 12 miles from 77.
So when you go through there, when y'all go North Carolina.
Yeah, so I'm not far. I mean, downtown Wytheville which 77 runs right through. I'm about 12 miles. Yeah. So I can get to downtown Wytheville, civilization, if you will, in 15, 20 minutes.
I was trying to give a frame of
70,
reference
80.
for Eric because he goes North Carolina, 64, 77. So I figured you've been right through Riley's backyard.
Yeah, that's 71, 81 or 77, 81.
Yep,
little
77, 81. I'm right at that that intersection there.
I usually try to get to there to get gas. That's where my stop.
It's the cheapest place in the state, man.
Yeah.
For gas.
It's a pretty area. That's really pretty. What's that?
It's the cheapest place in the state for gas.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good ways away from the other spot there. Oh, cool. Well, I tell you what, man, I could talk to you all night. But, yeah,
this has been super. Riley, give shout out. I think we kind of got a little sidetracked, or I sidetracked just talking about the burns, but shout out to Preserve. Use our podcast to bring you some business, to make people aware. Tell everybody what you got going on, what you offer, what they can expect.
Yeah. Well,
where to find you?
We're here to talk about ruffed grouse first and foremost, but I appreciate that. And the preserve is Feathers Over Fur. We're in Wytheville, Virginia. We're going to start guided upland hunts late September, early October, and we're going to have chucker, ruffed grouse. Sorry, my mind's just thinking about ruffed grouse. Chucker, pheasant, and bobwhite quail. If you could pen raise ruffed grouse and release them, man, I'd be the first person to do it. But
the no-go, man. That's
a topic for I don't even know ornithologists to figure out. But yeah, I've got a fleet of bird dogs, just about any breed that anyone would want to hunt over. I recently acquired a setter, English pointer, setter, Weimaraners, German Shorthairs. Folks are more than welcome to bring their bird dogs out and hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm offering board and train, hourly bird dog training. And then I recently opened up a shotgun shooting range because of the general interest in shotgun shooting, because there's nothing really around here. So I've got a 5-stand course and a trap course, and I'm open on the weekends for that right now. Eventual sporting clays, I hope. It's just a big investment to establish a course like that. But yeah, I think the general idea behind the game preserve, and we touched on that earlier, was to get people out there and expose them to what it's like to hunt over a bird dog. And a lot of the older generation have reached out because they remember quail hunting in Southwest Virginia, and they remember the heydays of ruffed grouse hunting. And we just don't have that anymore. That was before my time even, but for these guys to bring their children and their grandchildren out to show them what it's like to see a bird dog lock up on point and see that flush. And still to this day, even when I'm training a dog locking up on a pigeon in a launcher, my heart races. And I hope to be able to show that to other people in hopes that, maybe they'll end up like me, going from that long-haired hippie tree hugger to this complete 180 of a conservationist looking at the ruffed grouse species. And doing everything in my power to facilitate that little bird.
That's awesome, man. I tell you, that's a cool point. We always talk about the future of grouse management. Talking about the old timers, having a place like yours, where they can't, the hills around here, they're not for the faint of heart. Having a place for the old timers to get out and kind of relive what used to be. I'm sure they appreciate having an option to do that. But to wrap this all up, we kind of touched on it at the beginning. I think my favorite part of this whole podcast have been your stories, and not just your stories, but your ability to tell them so well. But the question that is coming, one of, if you haven't shared it already, your most meaningful experiences with a ruffed grouse, hunting, flushing, drumming. You've shared so many good ones already. What's another one that you can share with us to wrap this all up?
Oh boy. So that's an easy answer for me. This goes back to my early days with Blue. Going out in National Forest in October, I believe it was, of 2020. I think it was 2020. I hadn't moved to Bland yet. I was still living on the farm in Blacksburg. And found one of those young cuts on the early Forest Finder app. We went out there and we hadn't moved anything. And all of a sudden, so bear in mind, I didn't know what drumming was at this point. And me and my buddy are sitting there, standing next to each other, letting Blue work this piece of cover. And we hear what sounds like a helicopter taking off like 2 miles away. And I could feel it in my heart, man. Like, just, it was, both of us looked at each other like, what the hell was that? Because we're in the middle of 26,000 acres of national forest. Like, there's no helicopter taking off.
The boss man's coming.
And so we started chit-chatting, and we were like, dude, I didn't know because we knew what drumming was. Like, we listened to it on YouTube. We hadn't heard it firsthand yet. And we knew it was coming from this creek bottom beneath us. We listened to it again. We sat still and we heard it again. We're like, it's down there. And so I heel Blue, and we're army crawling because we know it's a grouse at this point. And we're army crawling through this native cover of thick rhododendrons, soaking wet. And we army crawl, and I'm heeling blue because I don't know what I'm doing with a bird dog at this point. And it's so thick in there, you're never going to see the grouse if it does flush. We get to almost to the end, and like both of us are about to stand up, and there goes the grouse, right on the edge of the cover.
Oh man!
And I will remember that till the day I die. That like that feeling inside, I could feel the drumming through my body.
Mm-hmm.
And then trying to pursue that grouse to the best of our knowledge, crawling through the rhodos, crossing this creek, and then to get to the end of like this 100-yard army crawl just to watch it flush before we could even stand up.
Mm-hmm. At least he gave you that opportunity to see him, you know.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, he gave you the opportunity. So long, sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Good stuff, man.
But I still came back the next weekend to try and find him again.
Oh, did you? There you go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who you have there that you're petting? Who you got there?
This is my buddy's GSP. This is Cubby.
Cubby.
I don't know if you can see her. He's a little micro GSP.
Micro. What's up, Bubba?
He's little.
Oh, GSP. What's up? Look at that face. Oh.
Yeah, man, I got 4 dogs at my feet right now. I don't know if you've heard them throughout the podcast.
No,
just
not at all.
Around.
Yeah, we're picking up a dog Friday from one of Noah's connections in Kentucky, and a setter.
Harold. What's that guy's name?
Harold.
Harold. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're picking up a dog. I'll probably get one later. I just don't have the time. I have the time, but I'm not. I got a lot going on. Cody and I got a lot going on. I just need to stay focused. And plus, it's like my setter. He's 7, and I just want one more. I know this might sound stupid. Just like a season, just him and I. Another season, just him and I. And I just don't want another pup, you know, or something like that interfere with that relationship and stuff. And yeah, that's another story that hopefully we get on some film here sooner than later. But yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Well, thanks, Riley. I'm glad Cody made that connection, man. I'm glad Cody did the connecting on that. One thing, if you could, do we have a text thread, Cody, with Riley?
No, I got his number. But
okay, could you do that and then send us the email? I'm going to send you something. Okay.
Well,
okay, definitely.
I got it. You need his mail.
I've got Cody's
email.
I meant mail address. Jesus, dude, don't get old. See, he laughs now. All right.
No, I truly.
I think it's funny. The old man. Oh, Cody or Eric didn't take his medicine today. Yeah.
I am fast tracking. I turned 37 yesterday, and I'm becoming more and more forgetful.
Man.
But
yeah,
Riley,
dementia's setting in early.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Appreciate your time. We'll chat more after I hit this little red button. But truly, you know, this is one of my favorite conversations that we've had. I can feel through the Zoom your passion for the species, which is really cool.
No doubt.
Appreciate you coming on.
Like I said, that little bird has just changed my life completely. And I never would have guessed that would have happened. But, you know, go back 10, 11 years ago, I would have bet millions upon millions of dollars that I would not be sitting here discussing ruffed grouse habitat, timber cuts, clear cuts, all of that. I would have assumed that I'd still be one of those hippies, like, strap me to that tree. How dare you cut that thing down?
Well, we're glad you saw that bird that day, and we're glad you came on the podcast, and we are glad, and I'm sure the ruffed grouse is as well, that you are going to bat for them and speaking with your voice as loudly and proudly as you do.
And same with y'all. I'm very supportive of what y'all are doing, and the podcasts, the pages, the billboards. It's great that folks are out there like y'all advocating this species.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank you again, sir. Stretch stamp of approval. Riley Wimer. Strike one before hitting record was the Virginia Tech email.
Virginia Tech. Let's start there. Oh, look, we got a new coach. We're going to go to the national championship with a guy who couldn't coach Penn State.
I am worried for the ACC and being halfway a UVA fan.
Well, yeah.
James Franklin's going to do good there. He's going to do good there.
He will. He's a good dude. He's a good coach. I'm making fun being old rival. But no, Jews, man, I don't know. I had a smile on my face the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice every now and then to take a break from the seriousness of trying to save the world. It was just great to have just a general conversation about dogs and hunting and a little bit of management in there. It was refreshing. And what a story that was about Riley, where he was mentally, his appearance, he made light of that. To 10 years ago, he wouldn't be strapped to a tree. Now he's
cutting them down. Yeah.
And again, I'm going to steal this from you. It's just all from this little bird, this size of a chicken, what it can do when you allow it. And its thing is, it's like it happened organically for him. Like it just, the story itself, how he fled his bird and the dog was on point. It's like, what in the world? And went home and Googled, Virginia chickens, chickens of Virginia or something like that. And then look what it became. And he was strong. You can tell that he was pretty staunch on his beliefs at that time, but with an open mind, what this bird created, and what wildlife is going to benefit from his encounter with this ruffed grouse. That's the cool story. How wildlife is going to respond to his property and his passion, and other species that he pursues, and the love for that they created to help them out. And no, stamp of approval, big time. It was nice. It was like sitting around a fire. Kind of forgot what we were doing. To be honest with you, a couple times. Yeah, and we don't do a lot of podcasts where it's hunting and stuff like that. And again, it was man, I had so many questions about dogs and all this stuff, and I didn't want it to turn into all that. But I had a lot. And it was cool. But no, what do you think? What is your thought? Disappointing, I'm sure, right?
No,
come on. Well, look at me.
It was it was just a remarkable story.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't know that about him, and I don't know. We've talked about it before, mentioned it in the podcast in your recent post, the romance that surrounds ruffed grouse. For a lot of people, ourselves included, and this certainly applies to Riley as well, there's some spirituality involved in it as well. And, no matter what you believe in, you can't convince me that it wasn't God or otherwise, again, depending on what it is you believe, that influence, to put that bird in front of Riley at that stage of his life for him to change from what he was, which there's nothing wrong with what he was, change from what he was to what he is now. That's a divine intervention, if you want to call it that, spiritual timing. It's an act of, it sounds dramatic, but it's an act of God. You know what I mean? Like that is exactly what it is. And that's his story is very, very similar to mine. Reference to spirituality of just putting putting a grouse in front of me in a time of my life when I needed to have it, needed to see it, needed to hear it. And I think a lot of people share similar stories, and it was refreshing is not the right word. It was just it was a really cool story to hear him tell it the way that he did. And two, like I said in the beginning, meeting and talking with somebody for the first time, you get to see their genuine responses, expressions, how they talk about things. And he just, his face lit up. Basically, anytime we said the two words ruffed grouse, like he just started smiling and his face lit up with happiness with ruffed grouse or bird dog or on point. Like there were all these little keyword triggers throughout the episode that when it was said by any one of us, like just Riley smiles. Like you could just see his face light up with excitement and happiness. And that passion is genuine and authentic and truly palpable and contagious. And it's cool to see all the people that, I think I mentioned it early on, all the people that I've met, and you're no different, all the people that I've met and that you and I have met together, all thanks to this little bird. It's remarkable, when you give it some thought like that. Is if we didn't go down this journey, never would have met Riley, never would have met many of the people that we've had on this podcast. Never would have met a lot of the people that I've met off the podcast as part of Gift for Grouse and the relationships we're developing and partnerships we're forming. And it's literally all goes back to, as Riley called it, the chicken of Virginia, or the Virginia chicken or whatever.
Chicken of the sea. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, Cody just, I mean, not to keep beat the dead horse. It's just, I kind of there joked around tongue in cheek, resented him. And, I mean, to be young and just do what his story did this, did that, got a van bus and just did this and that and just live life. I admire people so much. I loved hearing those stories of just tossing X away and doing Y and just letting Y happen. Come on, man. That's just, I just can't get enough of hearing stuff like that. He's such a nice young man, well-spoken. And I got a feeling that we're going to be doing a lot of stuff, all of us together. It's going to be cool. Again, like you said, meeting these people, it's just great, man. I mean, each guest we've had on, it has its own little thing, and that's what's great. It's great. It's good stuff. No, I don't know what else to say. It was just fun. It was a fun podcast.
Yeah.
Only wish him the best, and I got a feeling that he's gonna achieve everything that he puts his mind to. He seems like a very determined fellow, puts his mind to something and gets it done. And then having somebody like Noah, to help him, steer him. I mean, come on, sky's the limit with it, and so that's just an example. When you allow yourself to be open-minded to something, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a testimony of what can happen when you put your guard down and you just listen and see with your own eyes and not what the narrative is, that you stand for or represent at that moment in time. Man, look what it created. Look what that's happening. And it's not for everybody. That's what makes the world go around. But when you let it happen naturally, look what can happen. Right? So another team member for Gift for Grouse and for Team Grouse. We'll take anybody we can, man. Let's build it.
That's the truth.
Let's build it. But so that's all.
That's all I got. It was
me too.
Was cool. Just one of my favorites. So I'm glad, candidly, I'm glad I didn't know Riley prior to today. It wouldn't have been as an enjoyable or as an organic of a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, the first conversation that we had would have gone similarly. I'm just glad that it happened in podcast form. You know what I mean? So it can be shared with other people and they can hear his stories and hear his passion and the way that he talks about all things. And that's another thing too, point for Riley, all things grouse related, similar to Bo, just loves to hunt them, loves to manage for them, loves to see them, loves to hear them, just wants to have them.
Yeah.
All the different avenues that the Ruffed Grouse provides. Riley is full speed down all of them.
Yeah, it was funny. I was listening and talking and surfing on his Instagram, and again, feathers over fur, correct? Right? Oh, feathers over fur. Yeah. And it's on Instagram. I mean, I was going through his photos and stuff, and it's like, oh, I want to just that picture. I got so many questions about that, and it was he's everyone encouraged him, and when he gets that thing up and running and going, smoothly and all this other stuff, let's all support him and his journey with his business and stuff, and that's what he's got going on there.
Worth saying as well, truly, I think most people know this, but somebody like Riley who's running his own business, you should always support local businesses best you can anyway, but somebody like Riley who's such a strong voice and advocate for Ruffed Grouse, helping him helps the species. You know what I mean? So go shoot trap for a weekend. Give him some, put some money in his pocket to help him keep the train rolling. Because at the end of the day, we're both wanting the same thing and all on the same team. So that's something we can all contribute to, whatever the case may be. As far as Riley's feathers over fur, support it however you can.
Yep. Absolutely. So, well, on that note, appreciate everybody listening, tuning in, supporting us, buying the merch. You have no idea how special it means to all of us. Those are just not words, man. And getting the DMs and the messages and all this stuff and text messages. Had a great conversation with one of our supporters, and he knows who I'm talking about, just the other day. And he actually sent Cody and I a text message, just talking. And actually, Cody and I went through it line by line and talked about it. And he had some great points, and it was something that, and the moral of it is, we do read each one, and we'll respond and stuff the best we can. So, other than that, thank you for supporting. Thank you for listening. And as my grandpa always used to say, no worry,